don't get coronavirus in your heart.
Let's do it.
It's the base.
LOSO__G.
DK, the engineer.
Oh, hey, what up, man? I'm Steve Kepfer. I'm a martial artist, stunt guy, lifelong New Yorker.
All right, and that's the show. All right, good. Yeah, that was good, guys. That was good. No, so yeah, like I think you're the first. Actually, you're not the first martial arts guest that we've had, but I think you're the first person that we've had that has such a that's so well regarded. Yeah, just tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into martial arts, and just tell us about your life in general.
I got into martial arts when I was a kid, like basically daycare, like a lot of kids. My mom was a professor at Queens College, and both my parents worked. You know, my dad was a fireman, my mom was a grad student, and then later a professor at Queens College. So they had a program where you could drop your kids off, you know, like basically daycare while the kids of the professors and the college staff were at work or whatever. And they had a karate program, like a Shotokan karate program. So I was like in daycare karate, man. I mean, that's basically how it started. And then that was like for 2 years or something like that. My mom said it's about 2 years. I honestly don't remember. And then it did, you know, I didn't stick with it until I got back to martial arts, like when I was in high school, like later in high school. But it still planted the seed, you know. And then growing up in the 70s, it was, you know, Bruce Lee and, you know, like all the usual influences, you know, like Kung Fu theater on Sundays on TV and stuff like that. Like I always had an interest in it, but it wasn't until high school I got back to it. And then pretty much since high school till now, it's been a constant, you know, haven't stopped it. Like in high school, it was Taekwondo, and I kind of was doing Taekwondo during that. Like I started before it got in the Olympics, and I left Taekwondo after it got in the Olympics, and like the Olympics really changed Taekwondo. Like when I got into it, it's a little bit more like karate, and then it eventually got to like what it is now, like Olympic Taekwondo. And then I went to Sanshou and Kung Fu after that, and then by '99, I guess I found Sambo, and that's what it's been since, you know.
Okay, what is Sambo? How would you describe Sambo? Because full disclosure, I train at Steve's gym. He's been my coach for what, like 4 or 5 years now.
Something like that,
yeah, something like that. I don't know.
It's been that long? I remember when you actually first brought it up to me, because I've actually never heard of Sambo until he started going to your gym, and then, you know, come find out that Sambo's actually in a lot of things that we grew up, or that, you know, that we see on TV and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it's in video games. You know, it's actually out there quite a bit, but it's a Russian martial art. Well, it's actually a Soviet martial art. You know, people that say,
I like the distinction. He's like Soviet.
Well, you know, because like now people say Russian because there is no Soviet Union, right? But really, the founding of Sambo was a Soviet, and it was a Soviet entity. It wasn't just Russian influence. There were people from all the different Soviet nations, you know, styles of all the different Soviet nations that were involved in the creation of Sambo. And in fact, the jacket itself, like for those who have never seen it, like it looks like a gi, like a judo gi or a jiu-jitsu gi, but there's cuffs over the shoulder. And that the history of that is actually to make the wrestlers from other cultural styles a little bit more comfortable. Like, because, you know, like Mongolian wrestling and Shuai Jiao and a lot of other wrestling styles that wear a jacket, the jackets don't have sleeves. So, or Georgian wrestling. So those cuffs, you know, there's propaganda that they try to say that like, oh, that was for like to mimic martial art uniforms and stuff, which is, I think, kind of bullshit. But it was really just to give the guys who are used to wrestling with short sleeve jackets or vests something comfortable to grab, like by the shoulders, you know. But yeah, so it was Soviet, and then more recently it's become kind of like a political propaganda tool for Russia, like a nationalistic thing. But my coach, my coach, who's Russian, always made the distinction that it was not just a Russian martial art, you know.
Mm-hmm. So how would you describe the actual
technical side of it?
Like the technical side, but in a way that like a layman could understand, you know.
I would say, like, if a layman was watching it and they didn't know what they were watching, it would look very much like judo or any kind of wrestling style, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's a combat version of it that involves punches and kicks and stuff. So that would look kind of like MMA, like to someone who didn't know the difference. I mean, they're quite different. Like the rules are different, how you score and assess, and the strategies are different. But like in terms of what you can do to each other, technically, it would look like MMA in a gi, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the sport version would look just like judo or jiu-jitsu, more like judo than jiu-jitsu because there's a lot more throwing involved. But, you know, I always tell people it's like a combination of judo and wrestling. Like if you took the best of all of judo and then the best of BJJ, like in terms of what you can do submission-wise, and then the training culture of wrestling, then you kind of have Sambo, you know? Because it's not Asian. There's no belt ranks and there's none of the formality. So like the training environment is much more like a wrestling room than a martial arts school. You know.
Okay, and what was it about Sambo in particular that drew you to it? Because I know you practice a whole bunch of martial arts. We're also going to go through your other I guess ranks, accolades. He's also a judo black belt in Taekwondo. Competed in Sanshou, master of sport and combat Sambo. Why Sambo in particular, as opposed to why didn't you open Steve's House of Kung Fu?
Why
not?
Sanshou Steve right now?
Yeah,
Sambo. Yeah,
especially I think you started a really long time ago, and you had to like help grow that community too. And growing any type of community is like extremely hard. So that like. Something definitely drove you there. But my fault, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're right. I mean, when I first, you're right though. I mean, when I first started Sambo, it was known to certain people, but it wasn't as known as it is now, you know? I mean, it's still small now compared to like judo or jiu-jitsu, like in this country, but at least people know it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's largely thanks to the UFC and combat Sambo, you know? Because of all the Russian fighters and stuff. And that started with Oleg Taktarov in UFC 6, I think. Yeah, 6. And that's the first time I had heard of it. And the reason that I went to Sambo, really, it wasn't because I was looking for Sambo. I was really looking to leave the gym that I was at. I wasn't happy there anymore. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, like, oh, you know, well, actually, just to backtrack a little, I had taken a seminar with Oleg Taktarov in 1998. And it was at the Jean Labelle World Grapplers Challenge in Toronto. I'd competed up there. And then there was a seminar with Oleg Taktarov and Gokar Chevichin and Jean Labelle. So that was the first time I actually kind of officially trained under any Sambo kind of thing. And then that was in 98. And then by 99, I was ready. I was looking to leave the gym that I was at. Mm-hmm. And somebody had said, oh, there's this Russian guy teaching over here. There was a place that it doesn't exist anymore, but there was a place in the city called Chow's Martial Arts. It was mainly a Kung Fu school, but they rented out to other people. And my Sambo coach was teaching there. So I wasn't looking for Sambo. I was just looking for something new. So I went and took a class. And I was more hooked on him as a coach than I was on the style, you know? It was the way he taught, the way he presented things. And it was the first time of my whole martial art career that I actually felt like coached, you know, like it wasn't like I was in a room with lines of people, everybody doing the same stuff. It was, you know, with all that, like what people typically think of as like a martial art class, you know, and
everyone's standing in line in the Bruce Lee video when he, you know, and it's always the place where he's about to go in and fuck somebody up. Like he's about to fuck somebody up and then everyone's doing the same shit. And there's always like there's always the sensei, and then he gets the top student to fight Bruce Lee, and then he fucking demolishes him, and they all jump him, they all get trashed.
That's it.
That's what I'm envisioning.
Well, my coach did fuck me up though on my first class, and he was like 50. This is Alex Barakov, but anyway, I was looking for something else, and somebody's like, "Oh, this guy is teaching over here at Chow's," and I was like, "Oh, let me go check it out." So I took the class, and it was great. It was like maybe 7 or 8 people in the class or something like that, and it was very individualized. It was the first time I was in a martial art class where the coach actually was like, "Well, you do it this way because you're, 6'4", and you do it this way because you're, 4'6", or like whatever." It was very like Victor. No, just kidding.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shout outs to Victor, the Soviet Munchkin.
There he is. But, so it was just very individualized. It was very like didactic, very scientific, and it was very drill oriented and just skill. It was really about skill development, and in a way that if you studied education or learning theory or anything like that, it would be very familiar to you the way he taught. And that was very much the way the Soviets approached training, like they would, like, for example, with like kids, they would, train the kids from youth all the way up to be like Olympic champions. But it wasn't like they just randomly did it. They would let kids do all different kinds of shit and then see what they liked. Oh, that kid's really digging the wrestling, or that kid's really good at gymnastics or swimming or whatever. And then they would funnel that kid. Like, for example, Karelin, who everybody knows is wrestling, right? He started out as a Sambo guy, but then he got poached by wrestling because, Sambo. He's a beast, and Sambo's not an Olympic sport, and wrestling is, and you get much more international acclaim, with Olympic champions. And so the Soviet, and now still the Russian mentality is like really to use almost sport like as an intellectual, or at least a imperialistic tool, but like a propaganda tool, And Sambo, they're using it now. They pop, there's all these Sambo federations popping up in all these countries that really
South America.
Yeah,
Africa.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like they're actually trying to develop the sport out there as opposed to, places like, I guess, more Western countries like US, Canada. They don't really care. It's just like, whatever.
No. They'll pump tons of money into like the Ecuadorian Sambo Federation or whatever, but they won't, really send much to the United States or Canada or anything like that, It's still
that's good news for you, DK. Dominican Sambo Federation.
Yeah, man.
Let's get it started.
No, the Pan Am Championships have some pretty good teams for sure. But anyway, yeah, so that's how I got hooked on it. It was more about him and the way he taught and the environment, And then after that, I really learned to love Sambo. But it wasn't like I was so attracted to Sambo itself in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, what I liked about training with you and training at the gym is that as opposed to other places that I've been, and I mean, pretty much every place I've been, I've enjoyed training at. But one thing in particular is that there isn't a dogma to it. I mean, there's and I think it's kind of the fact that the Sambo mentality is like taking what works and then sort of discarding what doesn't, but also the environment that we're in, right? Is like, I train at a Sambo school and there's not that many Sambo competitions, but there's jiu-jitsu competitions, there's Swaija, there's judo, there's this, there's MMA, there's this and that. And I like how the training is geared towards any rule set. So you could apply whatever skills that you learn to different rule sets. That's what I liked about it.
It's almost like I've had this discussion with a lot of people in the Sambo community, because in Sambo now, in Russia, for example, Sambo is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's like jiu-jitsu here, it's like BJJ here. And so over there, all the Sambo gyms are training mainly for the Sambo rules, or maybe judo if they're overlapping Sambo judo. But it's sort of homogeneous, right? And it's not exactly the way it was intended originally. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're a Sambo guy in America, you're the minority, And in order to survive, you have to be able to adapt for, like you said, like what we do. We'll do a Shuai Jiao tournament, we'll do judo tournament, grappling tournament, jiu-jitsu tournament, MMA, Sanda, like whatever. We'll just train for whatever and make what we know apply in those environments.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, Sambo here is a little bit closer to the original intent of being able to just use what works and survive in whatever environment you happen to be in. Whereas in Russia now, Sambo is Sambo. That's it. Like, you know, it's everywhere. So you don't see Sambo guys over there training for like tons of different types of rule sets because they don't need to. Like, we have to do it. You know, if we want to survive as a gym, we have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I've been trying to get DK, I've been trying to get him to come to the gym for the longest. We got our little training regimen here at the crib. Fortunately, we have like a place where you could put mats and stuff like that, and we've been training. But I've been trying to get him to go to the gym. COVID threw like a wrench and all that, but he always be like, "Yo, yeah, I'm coming,
bro.
Yo, there's always after something. It's always after something. Oh yeah, yo, man. Yo, I gotta take a dump real quick. Yo,
it's on record now for everybody to see. And then when I share this video, you know, after we're done, then I'm gonna just call you out and say that I expect you at the gym when this is all wrapped up. You know.
Well, then this is legally binding. I told you, man. After COVID,
I'm sending you a DocuSign link.
Yeah. It's funny because he used to train Muay Thai with me back when we trained at Sitan Gym, and then I think prior to COVID he trained at Chak Sabai. Is that right?
Yeah. I was training there for a little while as a gym in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It was really just convenient because I was able to go in the morning right before work, so I just kind of kept.
Chak Sabai closed, unfortunately, because of COVID. Like a whole bunch of other gyms is what I heard. Chak Sabai closed and a whole shitload of them closed, sadly.
Yeah, man, it's rough. So how have you adjusted, like, you know, not just the gym, but like your life in general around COVID? Like, how has it changed the trajectory of everything?
Well, there's definitely like, it's still kind of day by day, right? Like just reevaluating like what my role will be in the world coming up. I mean, the gym is there, right? But we're not like really open to the public yet, and we're not, you know, functioning in the way we used to be. So there's a lot of thought going into restructuring the business model, how I'm going to restructure the business model of the gym to make it viable. And in the stunt business and the TV and film business, there's really very little happening there either. So I think that's going to take a big backward step in my life, you know, so I'm going to focus more on the gym. But like in the, you know, when the lockdown first happened, like my mentality was I have to come out of this better than I went into it. Like, you know, in terms of the business and everything. And like it just seems to me like a lot of the gyms were being very reactive about the whole thing, you know, and, rather than looking at this whole thing as a possible opportunity, like, you know, there's lots of opportunities that have happened. Like, for example, the streaming channel that we created for the school, right? That's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. To, you know, a channel like guys like Eric Paulson or Marcelo Garcia, like they have these school, private streaming channels.
Well, what is the streaming channel? Go into it real quick.
So basically, like, the idea was to just be able to keep building the brand of the school, you know, and not just like go to Zoom classes or some bullshit like that. Because I don't know anybody that's had success with the Zoom classes. Like, people just don't do martial arts on Zoom. That's just, you know.
I know a couple of schools have been doing that, and it looks weird. Like,
if you ever needed proof, if you ever needed proof that like the one that at least training fighting will never be replaced by like, you know, screen time. You know, you just got to be with a person. It's a hands-on thing. And so Zoom classes, I just didn't feel excited myself to do it. I didn't feel like it was anything that our students would really embrace. we don't have a kids program. Like, you know, the Zoom classes have been kind of successful for some of the schools with kids programs, like essentially like a babysitter for the parents who had to work at home.
Like public school.
But yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I didn't want to do that, but I did want to offer something for the students and also figure out a way to make money to survive while we were closed, you know? And so I'm fortunate that I have a internet presence already. Like, I think a lot of martial arts schools and coaches, especially older generation, like maybe my age, 50 and up, like they are not necessarily internet savvy or marketing savvy or whatever. And so that like really hurt them during the pandemic when they had to all of a sudden develop an internet presence. And the only thing they really had available to them in terms of ideas is like what everybody else is doing is like Zoom, you know. But because of my filmmaking life and all this other stuff, like, you know, and just because I've been on YouTube for like ever since like 2006, you know, since YouTube started, so I have a presence. My Sambo channel on YouTube was the first Sambo channel ever on YouTube. Like I challenge anybody to find an older Sambo video on YouTube than our first video. You won't find one.
Yeah. We have to go to youtube.ru or something.
Yeah, right. I mean, no, seriously, like back then, if you searched Sambo on YouTube, you'd find a whole bunch of racist cartoons like Little Black Sambo.
Little Black Sambo.
That's all you get, you know? So, but anyway, so I created the streaming channel, which, you know, every student gets a passcode so they can watch it for free, but non-students can subscribe for $10 a month. So it was a way to give students content while we were closed, but also a way to make some money and hopefully bring in students. Like, so because of that channel and some other things, I've got like a waiting list of people that want to join when we do reopen.
Nice.
You know?
That's awesome. And the fact that other schools closed too, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't wish that on anybody, but it does help us, you know. I mean, in a if you're just thinking strictly business, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of people looking for places to train if we survive, you know. I mean, there's still a lot of time. I don't think we're not going to survive, but, you know, it's like, who knows what the hell can happen in the next 6 months.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm not making enough money to support the gym quite yet. But I'm making maybe a little bit enough now to at least supplement the federal unemployment that we just lost. And, but we'll see. September, I got to start paying full rent at the gym again. Like, the landlord was really cool. He let me pay half rent from April till now. But, you know, September, I start paying full rent again. So we'll see. And then I'm losing my health insurance because of COVID and Screen Actors Guild. They're just they're kicking thousands of us off health insurance.
Oh, they're just saying, fuck everybody. That's crazy.
Yeah, because, you know, the way we get health insurance is you have to earn it by work.
And no one's working.
Nobody's working in the health.
Oh, wow.
There's been lots of poor mismanagement of the health plan and the union leading up to this. So basically the health plan is kind of broke, you know, so they just literally last night it was a Zoom meeting. It was like a national Zoom meeting. There was like over 500 people on it. It was massive, like performers from Screen Actors Guild across the country. There's thousands of retirees. Not only are they making it more difficult to qualify for health insurance, and they did nothing for those of us who are not working now, and then they took away the without getting too detailed, but there's a mechanism like for older performers that are, you know, like a time in, and you get these credits for time in and years and stuff that you can pay. You need to earn a lot less to qualify and stuff like that, but they basically got rid of all that. So there's literally thousands of retired performers getting kicked off of their health insurance and their dependents, right?
Fuck.
It's massive. Yeah. So like, And then the union is like, oh, but you can get on the Affordable Care Act or Medicare or whatever. And I'm
Oh
like,
my God. Like,
yeah. Yeah, well, if Trump is in office in January, you can say goodbye to the Affordable Care Act and Medicare too. So, like, now what? You know what I mean? It's like,
oh my God, that's crazy. Didn't he mention in some sort of didn't he mention something about killing Social Security and Medicare, something like that?
well, that's when he with his signing statement saying you don't have to pay payroll taxes for the rest of the year. Your payroll taxes.
I mean, that's essentially what he's doing.
That's what funds the payroll. Your payroll taxes fund Medicare and Social Security.
Yep.
So the thing is, like, he doesn't have the only Congress can forgive debt, right? Tax debt, but the president can put like what they called it, like a holiday, like you don't have to pay right now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, everybody still is going to owe that. Like if their employer doesn't take it out of their paycheck, they're still going to owe that money next year, unless Congress forgives it. You know what I mean? But what Trump is saying is that if he gets reelected, then he'll make sure that tax is done away with for good. So basically, what he's saying is like he's going to get rid of Social Security and Medicare. You know,
I mean, and you know, senior citizens are the ones, I think, out of all the demographics, they vote the most. I can't see how any rational thinking senior citizen or approaching senior citizen age would vote for something like that. That's crazy. That's the definition of voting against your own interests. Oh hell yeah! Oh my God, that's like if that's
year, son. Anything's possible this year.
Oh my God, that's such a don't vote for me fucking policy.
But here's the thing: it's like if you could look at the Screen Actors Guild as a microcosm, right? We just had an election, and the people there was obviously a lot of people claim, you know, the same people have been mismanaging the union for years just won the elections again, because just like the national elections, you have a very small turnout of voter response, and then most people don't pay attention. They just vote, you know, whatever the postcard tells them to vote for. And, you know, so it's like now the same people that voted the current leadership in are the ones complaining about, I can't believe they're taking our health care. I'm like, well, you fucking voted for these people, man. Like, you know.
Oh man, we should do it like other countries where they make voting compulsory, or is either compulsory or you have to pay a fine to not vote. Like that would just make so much more sense.
Yeah, but you know, people would pay the fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the Affordable Care Act, which I'm not whatever. It has its negatives. I'm not the hugest fan of how it plays out, but you know, people pay a fine on their taxes if they don't get health insurance, you know, but most people are like, fuck it. It's cheaper to pay the fine, you know, than to get health insurance. So that would happen with voting too.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, we don't have to turn this into Screen Actors Guild politics.
Oh no, this is the SAG Politics podcast. This is
exactly.
This is what it is.
The original question was, I still have some rough times ahead in terms of the business and stuff. Like, but we're doing good so far. You know, I did get a disaster loan from the SBA and stuff, so we're good for a while.
Okay. Well, talk about. I mean, we went straight into like the martial arts side of your life, but we also have the other side of your life that involves acting, stunts, editing. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
Producing.
Yeah, I'm not a good actor, so I'll start by saying I don't think of myself as an actor, but
especially with that attitude. But yeah, okay.
Yo, acting is hard. That was when I first got into the union, and so that was in end of 2016, and I didn't realize how many auditions I would actually have to go to, like as a stunt guy, you know, because basically like stunt performers are hired by the stunt coordinator. We don't have agents. We don't it's just word of mouth and like what your skill set is and how you look, stuff like that. And then, but these days there's a lot, way more stunt acting, or like whereas they'd be like, well, rather than hiring an actor, that only needs to say like a few lines, and then a stunt double for that person. Let's just hire an actor who can do some stunts, or a stunt person who can act, credibly for a few lines. So like I was really shocked how many auditions. That was probably the one big surprise when I really got into this business professionally, like how many auditions I would have to go to, to read lines and do all that kind of stuff. So I actually had to get myself an acting coach just because, it's like you have to do it. It's definitely part of the job, but I don't think of myself as an actor though. I just think of myself as I can, within a very specific like window of types of characters, I can deliver some lines and seem reasonable, but whatever. I'm a fight guy. That's what I do.
Okay.
But even then, it's like you get into the business, let's say as a fight guy, like if that's what got me in. Everybody gets in for a different thing. Like maybe you're a professional skateboarder, or for example, the guy that did the rigger that I worked with on Devs, the show Devs that's on Hulu right now. The rigger for that scene that I was on, because we were on the side of a building, so like I had to be wired up and stuff. And that guy got into the business like over 20 years ago because his name's Eddie Fiola. And anybody out there who might be a BMX fan, I don't know if they are, but he's basically the guy that is credited with creating freestyle BMX as a sport, as a thing. And he got into the industry in that movie Rad back in the 80s. It's like a BMX movie. Mm-hmm. But that's, you get into the industry for something. Like I got in for Sambo, right? But how many Sambo jobs come up? So it's like you got to then start learning everything else about what you need to do to survive. You need to learn about rigging and high falls and driving and all the other stuff that you need to be a versatile stunt performer. Because if you just only specialize in one thing, you're not going to work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Talk about what?
No, I was like, talk about like some of the things you've been in, or some of the projects you've been involved with.
Well, Sambo wise, it was like the biggest Sambo oriented job was the John Wick movies, like 2 and 3. Like, so I wasn't in the union yet, but I was like they brought me in on John Wick 2 just to for a couple of days to work with the stunt team, like kind of as a technical advisor. Show them some throws and fancy throws, like Sambo-oriented throws and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But that was like before I was in the union, and the stunt coordinator is JJ Perry, who's like legendary. He's like legendary, that guy. If you just Google him and see the stuff that he was stunt coordinator on, you'd be like, holy shit, like Warrior, the MMA movie Warrior.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. No.
Stunt coordinator for that. And there's just like tons of stuff, like a lot of the Fast Furious stuff. And I mean, he's just
fast.
Yeah. And so anyway, but I worked with him and the stunt team for like a few days. And then he was really cool. He kind of gave me like a mini internship, like broke stuff down, how they do things and all that. And then in John Wick 3, I got hired again to help with because they were going to reveal that John Wick was a Sambo guy. So I got to work on that whole thing. We did all the auditions at our gym for that Sambo scene, which Victor was in, ironically. Yeah. And then Hector actually was almost in it. I felt bad because like they cast a whole bunch of people. Then they decided they needed more. So, and everybody who watches your show knows who Hector is because he was, on your episode. So it's like we called him last minute. Can you get up here to Westchester where we were shooting at this old mansion? And he left work early. He gets all the way up there, goes through makeup, gets the whole Sambo outfit, fake tattoos, bruises, everything. And then they decide, we're not even going to shoot this scene today. We're going to do it tomorrow. And then we don't need those guys after all.
What?
So I felt bad, man. But anyway, so I helped with the casting of all that. And then on that day when we shot that scene, I helped coordinate all all the guys were doing, what all the Sambo guys were doing in the scene, like in the background and stuff, you know. And then I was in it as a coach. But that scene was like 30 seconds, and it was like 2 months of work, you know. So that was like kind of the best Sambo job that I had. And then, but in terms of just stunt performance stuff, I've been in a lot of stuff like Ray Donovan, season 6, I was in 7. I was in a lot. I doubled Eddie Marson, who's like Terry Donovan. And then I was in Devs, like I told you, Blacklist, a couple episodes of Blacklist, and Hunters on Amazon. I played a Nazi hiding out in America, and I get assassinated at a barbecue, and then bunch of stuff. People can find me on IMDb if they want to see what I've been in. But
okay,
yeah, it's been fun.
You've also produced and co-produced some documentaries and short films too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I produced a bunch of documentaries, like 3 documentaries. That's even before I got into stunts, you know, because I've been into filmmaking like longer than I've been involved in stunts. And it's just kind of like, I don't know why I never put 2 and 2 together, like my love for martial arts and that, and my love for filmmaking. Like, you would think that at some point in my life I would have realized, like, oh yeah, I can combine those things. But it took somebody else to point it out to me, like, hey, you should try this. And I was like, oh yeah, like, why didn't I think of that? You know? So late start in the stunt business, but it's been great so far.
Okay. And I know part of the gym, or maybe you could consider it, I don't know if you want to call it a gym or a program, but I know you have something for stunt performers in New York called Breakfall Studios.
Yeah. So what that started out, that's also evolving, and especially now with COVID, we're probably going to be scaling that back a little bit and just kind of funneling the stunt people that want to train right into the gym itself. But the way it started was when Paul Veracci, for those listening, he's another guy at the gym. When we both decided we wanted to try out the stunt world, you know, we went to this workshop, this Fighting for Film workshop. And there was, you know, we met like 40 or 50 other stunt people in the community, some rookies, but some veteran folks too. And then, of course, the stunt coordinators will help teaching it. And one of the common themes was there's like nowhere for people to train. You know what I mean? Like if you go to LA, there's a lot of places to train. You know, I don't want to say it's older, because New York, like the film community in New York is older. You know, before it moved out west, it was here. But I would say that it's smaller here in New York, you know. And in LA, you've got a lot of places that are you can train a lot over there. It's not so difficult to get training. I mean, it's still just as difficult to get the jobs, you know, but in terms of like training, there's more availability there. And so one of the things that people were saying at this workshop was there's nowhere to train here, or even to just work out with each other. Or there are places, but they're all like kind of like closed communities. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, I own a gym, you know. So we took an email list of everybody, and then that's how it started. Was just like once a week we were going to offer like free training for anybody who wanted to come. And then, you know, not like we were going to teach it, but just to come in and work out. We'll set a time slot once a week, and then we all just work out together. And then so we found out pretty quickly that there's a lot of people out there who really suck. You know what I mean? So you can't just open the door. You can't just say everybody come by, because then
like actual performers that are actually in the industry, or just people who are like quote unquote wannabes, or
like the wannabes. Like if you just open the door to like everybody, then you get the wannabes, the ones who will probably never make it, and then the opposite, the veterans. You know, like
you'll never make it.
There are people.
I love that brutal honesty.
Well, it's true. I mean, listen, there's like, it's not mean. It's like, there are some people who will never be a pilot, right? you could dream about being a pilot, but you just might never be a pilot. You just might have the most fucked up eyes. You might have like whatever, like I'm not about, I don't believe that you should tell people they could be anything they want. That's just a lie. Like I'm all for telling people you can try to be anything you want. You should give it a shot for sure. But there's some things that some people just can't do. Like there's definite things that I know I could never do. You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to pretend like I could. And that's the same with stunts. There are people who like will reach out to me and say, I want to be in the stunt business. What do I have to do? And then I'm thinking to myself, like, in what world do you think you have the skill set or the fortitude or the toughness or whatever to do that? You know what I mean? And it's like, and you'll ask people like, well, why do you want to get into the business? And then they'll be, well, I don't know. I just think it would be really cool. I'm like, okay, well, you need a better answer than that. You need to be, it's hard enough to get in into the union and then into the business and then to get work for the people who have decent skills. You know what I mean? And then once you get in with a particular skill, like I said before, it's hard to stay in and keep working because you have to really invest a ton of time and money and training to expand your skill set. And you could very likely spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and never make it. You know what I mean? And you just have to know that that's the reality. And so, look, even Edwin, you've seen people that come into the martial arts school, which is a little different. Well, there's been several people over the years, but here's the difference. Like the gym is recreational, right? So people, they're not coming there. Some people obviously are coming there because they need to train a skill for their job. If they're a cop or a security person or like like Phoenix, like a court officer or like a stunt performer, there are people who need those skills for their work. But there's also, in the end, it's a recreational place. So there's no expectation that you're going to be really good, So like it's a different mentality when you're going to do martial arts. That's just for you. And, but if you're trying to get into a profession and you want to be on a job where people's lives and safety depend on you being really, really good, you just can't be that person that looks like they lost the user manual to their body. It's like, you can't be that guy. Right. So, yeah, it's really hard. But anyway, I forget what the original question was, but it's like, it's tough to get in and it's tough to stay in once you're in. And now after COVID, it's going to be even tougher for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you touched upon it just based on.
Oh, yes. The original question was how did Breakfall start? So we originally.
Oh, yeah. I forgot too. Shit.
Yeah. We just originally were like, open to anybody who wants to come. And then we realized like, okay, you have total noobs, total veterans, people who don't have the physical ability, people that do have. So then we started putting some hoops to jump through. Then we were like, okay, well, once Paul and I got into the union, once we became Screen Actors Guild ourselves, then we said, okay, well, in order to come to the open training, you need to at least be in the union as a stunt performer. And you at least have to have had one stunt contract, like one job. Like we have to know that some stunt coordinator somewhere hired you and thought you were good enough. You know what I mean? And then it kind of evolved from there. And so now basically the way it is, it's pretty much now it's just invite only, like it's open to anybody, but we still have to kind of know you and you don't have to be a super expert. I think what's more important is that, and this is kind of part of the business. Like when you get a job on any TV show or movie, whether it's stunts or acting or it doesn't matter, but you're going to be on a set, let's say 15 hours with someone, maybe 6 hours or 7 hours of that is just you and that person sitting in a trailer. You got to be able to get along with people and not be annoying. You know what I mean? So like like one of the main factors now with Breakfall is like we have to know you because we want to know that we can spend several hours with you, you know, and just hang out and be cool and just be chill, you know. Like you can be a rookie stunt performer like for like when we do our trainings, it's not a class per se, it's just kind of a structured workout, but you don't have to be great. We just have to know that you have the good work ethic and that you're not a dick and that we can just hang out with you for like 4 or 5 hours, you know, without any kind of annoyances.
That's the Breakfall motto. Just be cool, bro.
That is the golden rule of life. Don't be a dick. Like seriously, like that's pretty much the solution to every problem you'll ever have. It's like, just don't be a dick, man. Just don't be a dick.
Just don't be a dick. Now, well, we do have a counter to that narrative. Because if you are a dick, you could be the president of the United States. Ha ha.
Yo, well, there are some very successful assholes out there, for sure, you know, but whatever. You know, I'm sure there are people that think I know there are people that think I'm an asshole. So like, whatever.
Why are you an asshole?
Because I just say what's on my mind. I piss people off sometimes. Like whatever, you know.
Sometimes people need to get pissed off.
I've never seen you say like asshole shit. Like, I mean, you know, people, you know, you can get heated sometimes, but you always speak your mind. I never interpreted anything you said as completely unreasonable, but I don't know.
No, it's usually just the people that are sort of on the, you know, I don't insult people or
on the spectrum. You can't say that. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's just if you try to live your life as honest as possible, then you're just gonna piss off some people. That's all. You know, it's real. I don't mind pissing people off. It's fine. You know, whatever. I don't care.
Did you say it's fine or it's fun?
Both. It can be both sometimes.
No, trolling people is fun. I'm not gonna lie.
But like, yeah, I don't know. The Breakfall thing is now it's just like kind of a core. We have a core team of people that we all work out together, and then you know, we'll invite as we meet people. Like if we're working a job and we meet a new person, or you know, maybe we knew of them but we never trained with them or worked with them, whatever. As you know, it grows, but it's just more like word of mouth, and we have to know you and trust you. And like I said, it's not necessarily about having the most amazing skill. It's just like, you know, are you a cool person and will you put in the work? You know what I mean? Like if we like our training is like, you know, the Breakfall before we closed, it was like a 4-hour session. It was pretty much nonstop for 4 hours. And it would start with all your basic tumbling, rolling, fighting, falling, XYZ, like for choreography, like everything for like 4 hours with very little break. And, you know, then we would do workshops. You know, we do workshops that are open to anybody, for rookies or anybody who just wants to continue practicing their basics. And we'll use those workshops as like kind of like testing ground. You know what I mean? So like if somebody takes the workshop which is usually about 4 to 6 hours long, and they're, you know, kind of physically petering out after an hour or two, or starting to get whiny, or like we did one fighting workshop where we ended the end of it. We would do choreography. We'd break everybody into pairs, and then we'd have, let's say, like a 25 move piece of choreography, and then each pair has to learn it righty and lefty, you know, and then perform it to everybody else. And we did one where the person was like literally complaining about having to learn it lefty. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, really? Stop. Like, you're gonna tell that to a stunt coordinator or the camera? Like, you know, that it's not uncommon for them to be like, well, the camera's gonna be over here, so can you do it lefty? Or the actor that you have to perform is lefty. Like if you're doubling an actor and he's a lefty, you're gonna have to do everything lefty. You know what I mean? So it's like everything. Like when I trained with the guys at 8711 in LA, they're the people that do John Wick. Everything is righty lefty, righty lefty. You have to do everything righty, everything lefty. You know what I mean? like I know a lot of martial arts schools are the opposite. You know, it's just like even me, you'll see like when I'm training just the regular martial arts students, they'll be like, you righty or lefty? Which way would you actually fight? You know, so
Yeah.
that's the way you train. But when you're training to do it for screen, you got to be ambidextrous because you just never know what's going to happen. And you have to be able to pull it off righty or you have to pull it off lefty, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is interesting. That is interesting about just, you know, you can train the same sort of movement, but depending on the context, it just depends on like how you should train it, or what's important to master. Like when it comes to martial arts, maybe training the same side may get the most bang for your buck because the whole point is to make an effective technique. Whereas when you're doing it for show, you should probably learn it both sides. You know,
Yep.
That's interesting.
And the other
mean-
thing is like with real fighting versus screen fighting, like basically very much of what you do in screen fighting is not what you would do in a real fight. Like I'm not even just the righty lefty thing, but the way you throw a punch,
Mm-hmm.
the extension is very open and it's supposed to look cinematic. Like, you know, like if you're in a box, you're like boxing, you want to be tight, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing big haymakers and stuff, but it's like on the screen, tight stuff looks really boring. It looks
Yeah.
horrible. You know what I mean? You want to see big movements and stuff. So the kind of the paradox there is it's like a lot of real fighters have trouble transitioning to screen fighters because they have to undo that habit. You know what I mean?
Of actually
then-
doing something right.
Yeah. It's like, okay, now you're going to do it wrong because it looks better. And then, but the flip side is I personally believe that it's the people who I don't mean real fighter like they have fought in a cage or something, but just people who actually train like a martial art or whatever that might have to undo what they would normally train to do for practical reasons, you know, for the screen. I think it's still easier to take somebody who trains and make them look believable on screen than it is to take somebody who's never trained at all, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and teach them fight choreography, you know? So like, I still think it's better, like everything else. I still think it's better to have that foundation of actually having trained
Mm-hmm.
because of the body awareness and all the other stuff that comes along with training, even if you have to unlearn exactly how you throw a punch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. Here's just my observation, right? The one common thread in all, you know, not all of your endeavors, but everything that you're really involved in when it comes to like Sambo. I know you didn't mention it before, but you used to run, what is it, the ASA? American
Yeah,
Sambo Association?
Yeah, I was the president of the American Sambo Association until we shut it down. But yeah, for like 13 years. Yeah.
So you did that, right? You run a gym, New York Combat Sambo. You run Breakfall Studios.
And me and my buddies, we created USA Combat Wrestling too.
Yeah, USA Combat Wrestling. So what I see the common thread, here's what your job description is. And let me know if this is like off base, but you're a community builder. That's what I would interpret like your main job is, because that seems to be the common thread in everything. Is that accurate? And
Yeah, I would say it is. I'll tell you what. I remember I've never been a world class martial artist. Like I'm never like even when I used to compete, I was a 50-50 guy. Win some, lose some. I never won some big world title or anything like that. You know, I was better than the average guy, but I would never call myself like world class or anything like that. And but I'm a good teacher and a good builder of things. And I remember when the first time I went to Russia to visit my coach after he left here, that was in 2008, right? I mean, I've been to Russia before 2008, but the first time I hooked up with him was in 2008. And we were hanging out and just talking about the progress of the ASA and the gym and all that kind of stuff. And I asked him straight up, like, why? Because he basically chose me. He's like, you gotta keep the school going when I go back to Russia. You know, we started the ASA together. I asked him straight up, like, listen, I wasn't the best guy in that room by any means. There were people more physically talented than me, like in terms of being martial artists. Why me? You know, like, why did you pick me? And his answer was simple. He's like, because I knew you would actually do it. He said, I knew you would actually do it. And then he said, how many of those people are still training? And honestly, the answer was almost none. You know, like, people could be physically gifted and be able to do stuff, but I think, like, if you want to build you know, it's like whatever, it's the stereotypical comment, like the best coaches are not always the best fighters kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like my expertise is, yeah, like you said, community building. I like building things, you know what I mean? And creating stuff. And he said it real simply. He's like, how many of those people are still training? He goes, I chose you because I knew you would actually do it, you know? And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I had never really thought of it like that, you know, when I was younger like that. But now I see it like, I know myself better now. I know I'm the guy that can't not get involved with stuff. Like, you know, like, I'm definitely the person that, like, if there's problems, I want to get involved and try and figure out a way to fix it and stuff. And it's like, it's really hard for me to not do that. It's hard for me to sit back and just let somebody else do it. You know, that's difficult. That's completely against my nature.
Makes sense. So what advice would you give for people wanting to build a community, at least general advice? I know there's like advice specific to, you know,
besides don't be a dick.
yeah. Aside from that, like, you know, there's specific advice to, you know, specific communities and depending what you want to build. But do you have like general guidelines, tenets, commandments, whatever you like to call it?
Yeah, I would say whether you're starting a business or a community or a club or a group or whatever, I think most people that fail for a couple of reasons. One is they start too big. They start too large, and it's too large for them to control or even to sustain. You know, like, a lot of businesses fail because they go too big too fast, get into debt, can't build it, you know, enough to sustain what they want. It's always better to start really small and incrementally grow, and let the community or the group or the business or whatever it is, let the life of that entity determine how fast you'll grow. Like, you can't force it, right? Like, if you look at like my very first gym that I owned myself without, or if you even go back, like when my coach went back to Russia, I didn't immediately rent a ground floor gym that cost me $15,000 a month in rent, and then sitting there like, oh my God, I got to sign up 100 students this month or I'm going to have to close. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to start small. So like, you start by teaching, you know, renting a couple of time slots a week at a gym, which is what I did from 2003 until 2007, was rent out of other people's places. You know, so, and then like from 2003 to 2005, I was just teaching a couple classes a week. By 2005, I was teaching 6 days a week on top of my day job. So I left my day job in 2005.
What was your day job?
I was an art therapist in pediatric oncology. Like, I have my bachelor's and I have my master's degree in creative arts therapy. So I did like medical education, and that's why I'm a good teacher, I think, because I have like a degree in basically I have a psychosocial background and degree, and I was on the faculty at Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn in the pediatrics department. So I left there in 2005, but it still wasn't until 2007 that I opened my own space. It was another 2 years of building the student body. You know what I mean? And then even in 2007, I was still renting from another guy, and I was forced to get my own space because his gym went bankrupt. And then I had to get my own space. And I literally started with where we are now, but on the 6th floor. And the room was only 20 by 20. It was literally like a garage gym inside a building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's better to have a 20 by 20 gym that is overcrowded than a 4,000 square foot gym with like 3 people in it. You know what I
Oh
mean? So,
man,
like,
yeah, that's bad optics.
yeah. So, and then when I was big enough, and then when the space next to us vacated, I took that space over. We went through the wall, and then I had a little bit bigger, you know. And then in when the heck did I move to where we are now on the 3rd floor? A couple years later, I moved downstairs because the bigger space was available. So you let it grow on its own, and I think that's the first place that people fail is they think. It's not that you shouldn't think big. You should definitely have long-term goals, but I think people confuse long-term goals with short-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
Long-term has to be long-term, and you can't jump into like that goal now. Like you just have to wait. You have to be patient. You know what I mean? And don't go beyond your means. That's the other thing is like, I'm still paying off some debt. That from even extending myself more than I should have, even with the small business, you know what I mean? And I'm almost out of all that debt now, but it was like, there was a lot. I would say like, don't start a business unless you have at least 2 years worth of liquid to keep it afloat. If you make, just in case you make $0, you know what I mean? Like you got to keep your business afloat for 2 years minimum in case you make no money. And then usually what I tell people is if after 1 year you're not at least through income of the business making at least half of what you need to keep that business afloat, you should probably fold the business before you go into debt. You know what I mean? So like you don't overextend yourself, and you need to have that liquid. Like I got lucky. Well, I got unlucky, but I had the money to sustain the gym for a couple years because of a death in the family, and I inherited a little bit of money. So that's what made it safe for me to quit the medical center job, But if you don't have that money in the bank, it's really risky to start a business, The other thing is like you have to be ethical. Like you just have to be ethical. Like you can't. I mean, people run very ethical businesses and they're successful. That's fine, but then I just feel like they're going to have demons that they have to deal with at some point in their life. Like I think it's better to run a completely honest and ethical business. Like in 17 years of running the gym, I've never had people sue me. I've never had people demand refunds really, like maybe once, like I've never had like big PR problems or any of that kind of stuff that could ruin a business. And I've never, like, I don't use contracts, right? I don't lock people in contracts. Like I'm just opposed to that, and like, I feel like gyms that use contracts that lock people in, that is an indication that they're not confident that they can keep people just on the pure basis that they're a good company, good business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what I find is that if people are happy with you and your business, they will lock themselves into like a mental contract. Like I could sign people up for like, you're locked in for a year or you're locked in for 2 years or whatever at this rate per month.
And they won't show up.
Yeah, and they don't show up, and I keep collecting their money, and they're stuck, right? And you need people to not come. If you want to be a successful gym, you need people that are paying tuition that are never going to come. That's the reality of the business. But the difference is to have to be the kind of business where they do that voluntarily. You know what I mean? So like, let's say like I have students that are on monthly plans. I'll check in with them. I mean, first of all, I get a lot of students because we don't use contracts. Like they'll go to other schools and be asked to sign a contract and they're like, I don't want to do that. And then they find us and then we don't use contracts. And that already is a selling point, right? And then like a lot of students, when they come for their first trial class, they're waiting for the hardcore sales pitch at the end of the class. You could tell they're waiting for it, especially if they've been shopping around. They're waiting for that don't let them leave the gym till they sign on the dotted line, like mentality. And that's just not me. Like my sales pitch is, well, I hope to see you again. And they're like, you know, you don't have a contract or anything. And I'm like, no, I don't want students that I have to convince to stay. I just tell them straight up, I want students that want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't want to stay, I don't want you as a student. And that alone is like a sales pitch, you know, but it's an honest one. It's true. And then usually they come back. You know, like I don't think my retention rate or lack of retention statistics are any different than people that use contracts. You know what I mean? And then the people that leave, I don't have to deal with the battle of getting out of contracts. They want out of a contract and, you know, I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so what'll happen is if I don't see somebody for a bunch of months, I call them or I email them and I'll be like, yo, dude, you still want me to keep billing you every month? And because you're not coming and you're wasting your money. And they're literally like 99% of the time, like, no, I'm coming back, dude. Keep billing me.
Yeah, okay. You put them on the spot. They're like, yeah, I'm coming back. Don't see them for another year.
No, it's true. I mean, I have people that pay for annual memberships and never come. They just don't come, or they come like 3 times in a year.
I did that once. I paid for an annual membership at another gym, and then I showed up for a few months, and the rest of the months, like my life just kind of changed. So it's just like, it was just like whatever. I just couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is I don't force people to do it with a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel better about myself, and for sure I lose people. Like somebody leaves and they stop paying monthly. I get it. You know, I'm not going to be that guy that's like, oh, well, you signed a contract, you got to keep paying. Like, that's just not me.
Yeah.
You know? And I think the fact that I get people joining, I think it offsets, you know, the people that join because that's not because we don't do contracts and I don't force people to pay stuff, offsets anybody I might lose because I don't have a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it makes sense.
I think that's just be an ethical business person. Like, don't trick people. You know, it's like there's very common sense rules, you know, that I think just like regular rules in how you deal with people in life, in your family and your friends and stuff. And it's like, if you run your business that way, then it's one of the reasons I think we're surviving, you know, like because where other gyms are failing, because I never wanted a chain of gyms. I never needed a storefront, you know, massive size. I like knowing that I have 100 students and I know every single one of them personally. You know, that I don't have 3,000 students that I don't know any of them. You know what I mean? Like, so I like having a small gym in a kind of shitty neighborhood, you know, in a kind of shitty building, you know, and that's helping us survive now. You know, it definitely is helping us survive now during the lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, goodwill is like a big part of like any brand or business or community, anything like that. A lot of people neglect that, but goodwill is kind of like, it's not tangible. You can't measure it. So it's just like this abstract thing, but like it makes a huge difference, especially during tough times. You know, a lot of big money gyms that are charging all this money and have contracts are disappearing because they don't have any of that goodwill. You know,
and people are getting pissed at them. Like you remember, like when we first closed, I told everybody. I know there was a big movement online, like keep paying the tuition to your jiu-jitsu gym, or you won't have a gym when this is over. Like there was a big public, like in the jiu-jitsu and grappling community, keep paying your tuition. So, like by the second month we were closed. You know, because you got the emails and stuff. After people paid in April. A lot of monthly people paid in April, but I didn't. Like I just said, listen, if you can do it, I would love for you to do it. If you can't do it, if it's between you buying groceries or you Paying me? Like, you should not be
Then pay
paying
me. You don't need fucking groceries, bro. Like,
Fuck your
you don't need
groceries.
to. You don't need to eat that bad. What the fuck?
But after May, like people had already paid for March, right? So then it was like then April, a bunch of people paid. Then by May, I had less people paying because more people had lost their jobs or whatever. And then after May, after the second month of being closed, I just told everybody I'm not going to bill you. I'm just not. Like, I don't feel right taking your money if we're closed. It just didn't sit right with me, And even now that we kind of for our current students, like, we're not open and we're only doing like private lesson and semi-private lesson at a distance with mask and stuff, but we're open. Even now, I'm not making money because all those people that paid are training for free right now. Like, I'm not charging them. So like the 2 months that they paid while we were closed, they're not paying right now, right? So we're quote unquote like kind of limited open, but I only have one person paying monthly tuition right now. You know what I mean? Like in September it'll go up because then the 2 months that people had already paid for will be finished.
Yeah.
But it still won't go up to like what it was before because we're only allowing 3 people in the room maximum,
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. A lot of gyms are trying to, are going crazy. Like, a lot of gyms, secretly or not so secretly during the lockdown, we're training. Like, people are just not really respecting the fact that COVID's a thing.
Well, and some of those gyms had little outbreaks. We don't have to mention who they are, but some of those gyms paid the price afterwards for disregarding it. All it takes is like one person to bring it into your gym.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you're all rolling and grappling with each other and pretending like this is actually not a thing, it's like Russian roulette. Like, even let's just say right now the positive infection rate in New York is like 1% or hovering. In New York City, it's around 1%. In the state, it's lower. But then you got like shit going on like in Sunset Park right now. They just spiked up to 7%. And then it's like, they're monitoring that because people are being stupid, So if you're going to roll and grapple with people, like, you're just taking chances,
Yeah.
So all it takes is one person, and then all of a sudden, everybody in that place has got it, And there's been some places in the city that they're trying to keep it all hush hush, like that didn't happen, but it definitely happened in some gyms.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's why I'm so strict about that's why I'm so strict. Like you saw in our private group, I'm like, if I see on social media that you are secretly rolling or not so secretly rolling or going
or partying or playing,
you're not coming to the fucking gym. Then you're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm extra cautious. DK too. We live together. We're married, so I think we're extra cautious because I really haven't done anything social at all since we got back from the Arnolds.
Yeah.
Since we got back to Arnold's, I haven't done shit but work, shop, and I have like an isolation pod. So there's like a few people, basically the people I live with, my mother and like 2 other people are people that I see with any real, regular, whatever. But people are partying, they're going out, they're, man, I can't.
No, that's why
I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, me either. That's why and plus I'm going to be 52 in a couple weeks. So it's like I'm in the quote unquote high risk age group or whatever. Even though
we having a Zoom party for your birthday? Zoom party?
I don't know, man.
We getting drunk?
Yeah, that's happened a lot more over this pandemic. But
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, man. But I'm very strict at the gym because it's easy to slide to. It's like a slippery slope, It's easy to, if you compromise on one thing, then it's easy to compromise on the next thing, and then like so if I like for example, like if I started the very strictest thing where I don't allow people into the gym. Like when we do the solo training, like we'll have 3 people on the mat, right? Each person has an 8.5 by 15 foot section of mat. That's just their own. And they have their own throwing dummy and their own shit and their own crash pad, everything their own, like resistance bands, like nobody shares anything. But one of the rules is like whatever mask you wore coming to the gym, you can't wear in the gym. Like whatever shit you breathe in on the subway or whatever, I don't want it on the gym floor. So you have to have a mask just for training. Like that's it, right? So it's very easy for me. Let's say somebody shows up because they don't read the email, right? And they don't read the post and they just show up with their mask. And I'm like, where's your training mask? Oh, I don't have it. Well, it's real easy for me to say like, all right, well, today just go without it, you know? But then if you compromise there, then what happens? Next time you'll compromise on the next little thing. So you have to just be strict, you know? And I think it's the strict protocol that's making the people that have been coming back for the solo training more confident that it's safe to come back, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're really strict about it.
All right. What else?
You should get your ass to the gym and get some working out in, Edwin.
Hey, I've been working out here. But here's the thing.
I don't want to know what you've been doing with your husband, DK, there on the.
I haven't taken the subway since the last day I took the subways when we got out for the Arnolds and I took like the N train or whatever back. Yeah. That's the last time I took the subway. So I'll come back. I'll come back at some point. I'll come back. We're gonna wait for the fall. We're gonna wait for the big, Charles Darwin's gonna do his work from beyond the grave because people are gonna party and shit. Then fall's gonna come, and then flu season at the same time, and a bunch of people are gonna die. And then once we emerge, right, it'll be like Fallout. The beginning of any Fallout game will come out the vaults, and we start a new life.
When I went into the city in April to get some shit from the gym to bring home so I could work out at home, Times Square was literally like a video game. It was like Fallout, dude. Like if you take everybody, like every person that lives in the area, works in the area, tourists, you take all of them out, right? And all you have left are transients, homeless people, like whatever, and the criminal element, that was like literally looking for the stray person that they could mug. Like my wife and I went to, I'm carrying a medicine ball and my wife had a bag of stuff. And then we went to the CVS and, we were buying like some stuff for the house. And she was like, oh, let's just check out what Times Square looks like. I was like, all right, let's go. It was crazy. And then this one dude was like coming up on my wife hardcore. Like he was probably going to purse snatch her or something. He was like making a beeline for her, right? And she saw him and she turned. She's like, that fucker's coming up on me. And then he stops and he starts doing kind of like, you know what I mean? And then like, so there was no cops there. There was a traffic cop, for what? I don't know. There was like literally no cars on the street. So we just like went over to grab a cab. We're like, fuck that. We're not taking the subway home. So we went over to stand next to the traffic cop and grab a cab. And that dude literally was hovering around us like a shark, just waiting to see if we were going to get a cab. But that's all that existed in Times Square. It was crazy. When we got out of the Uber, we took an Uber to the city. When we got out of the Uber on our block on 36th Street, there was some crazy screaming out of control dude being detained by the cops. And it was a mess. It was happening right on the street. And there's no doubt that the city has some serious problems it's going to have to deal with, but in terms of how the subway's been for me now, like, I think the subway's been fine for me coming from Astoria, but I think a lot of it depends on what part of the city you're in, Yeah. Igor, our student Igor?
Yeah, what about him?
He got attacked on the subway last week.
Oh,
what? He beat the guy up. beat the guy up. He did fine. He did.
Oh
okay.
yeah, New York Combat Sambo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just one of those, there's the people on the train just going down the train, instigating, getting in each person's face, waiting for something to happen. And they
do you know what time of the day that was?
Yeah, it was 11:30 in the morning. It was
what?
Yeah.
Dang, it wasn't even showtime yet. It wasn't even
No.
showtime.
No, that's why even though we're open for private lessons and semi-private lessons, I don't do anything past 7:00. I'm just like, fuck it. Because, sometimes in the old schedule, I wouldn't be even leaving the gym till like 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. I don't want to be traveling the subways and going home at that time. So there's too much craziness,
Yeah, man. It's been bugged out. Like shootings in New York City have gone up like a ridiculous amount. And not only that, but you have potential housing crisis on the horizon, people getting evicted, right? And, people think the protests were bad now. Wait till people don't have a fucking place to live. It's going to be legit. It's going to be legit fallout.
It's like you've got people like on the verge of being evicted, and at the same time, you've got more vacant apartment space and living space in the city than ever before. Because people are leaving. You know what I mean? Like there's some really weird paradoxes going on.
We need the Defenders. This is New York City in like the Defenders universe.
Yeah, right. It's just bizarre. Like a couple weeks ago, they had the first increase in new unemployment filings since like April or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, what's going on with that? And then my wife was like, dude, because all the businesses that tried to survive are now closing. You know what I mean? It's like all the people that are now losing their jobs because there are businesses that tried to make it.
Yeah.
And then now realizing they can't make it. So all these new people going on unemployment at the very time when unemployment is getting cut off, like no federal, and fuck Congress for going on. Like,
God, they're going on vacation, getting paid before they make.
They're doing their
3-week fuck
like recess when America is like in this massive
on fire.
Like I would not be opposed to a general strike across the United States, like like they do in other countries where everybody's just like nobody's going to go to fucking work today. Nobody, what I mean? Like we're all just going to stay home. I would be all for saying for every week that Congress stays on recess, we just don't fucking work. Nobody works. Then we'll see. Like, how insulting is it for our elected representatives to just fucking take recess right now? That's insane, dude. And I don't care if you're what. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Mm-hmm. It does not matter. Both sides are suffering, right? And both sides have an idea of what the plan should be to make it better. And both sides took vacation. So fuck them. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I feel like we're on the ground floor of a political movement. But they're going to look at this video in the archives and like this is how he started. This is how it started.
Well, Steve said there should be a general strike. But there should be. But the problem is it'll never happen in this country because there's too many people that are working that need that fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to get like a true general strike across the board, like all industry, to just say, fuck it, we're not going to work. I don't know. I don't even know if I would. Like, I'm not making a lot of money right now. So if somebody said to me, general strike, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm not working anyway, really. So like, whatever. But if like my wife is still working because she's an essential job, right? So are we willing to give up that paycheck? I don't know, man. It's tough. But at a certain point, it'll get desperate enough where people might just do it,
Oh, man. This is a ground floor. This is the ground floor of revolution.
Yo. When the Civil War happens, where you can come train to fight.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So Like, what have you been doing for leisure? What have you been doing to get your, what have you been doing during the pandemic? What shows you been watching? What games you've been playing? What books you've been reading? What have you been doing other
Like,
than throwing barbecues for your extended family?
yeah, right. No, I've been doing a lot of editing. As you can tell, I've been putting out a lot of content. So that's that's kept my mind busy. Like each of those coach session videos will take me like 2 or 3 hours. And then, I got some small editing jobs for friends in the business. Like earlier on, like I edited, like, the Emmys are coming up. So like I edited the stunt reel for Ray Donovan for their Emmy submission. And then I've been
that's
doing
awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I did last year's one too, but then they reached out and asked me to do it this year, which was cool. And then some of my stunt friends, they've been taking it, like I've been editing their highlight reel, their stunt reels for them and stuff. So that's kept me busy. I mean, now that I'm back at the gym a few days a week, that's been really great for the mental health. But in terms of just me, like a lot of running, I've been running like crazy. And then when I couldn't do anything else, and then, the dining room workouts, which I don't need to do now because I go to the gym and I'm working out there. But in terms of books, I've been reading Chaos, which is really good. It's nonfiction. It's about connection. It's about the Manson murders.
Oh, shit.
It's about connections between the Manson family, Hollywood, CIA, and LSD CIA experiments with LSD and stuff. It's like really great. You should definitely check it out. I'm about halfway through it, and
how's it end?
I know how it ends actually because I heard like all these podcasts with the author and stuff. But he doesn't come out and say like this is. He just exposes a lot of stuff that was omitted from the trials. And a lot of things that were never discussed. You know what I mean? Like the doctor that ran when Manson was in drug rehab for a while. He was in rehab for a while when he was not in prison. When he got out of prison, he had to go to mandated like rehab and stuff. And the clinic that he was in was run by the very doctor who was doing the Manchurian Candidate fucking LSD experiments for the CIA.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And so everybody, so there, and then you remember, the whole thing is like, how was Manson able to just get all these people to kill for him? You know what I mean? And it's like, then you start looking at like what he was basically being experimented on himself. It was like, there's some really crazy shit. And then the Hollywood connections with the Manson family were way deeper than were ever exposed in the, in there. Like
it's
in
always
terms
fucking Hollywood. It's always
prostitution and drug stuff and like all this other shit and other murders that were perpetrated by the Manson family that most people don't know about. And it's really, really, the book is like, it's a thick book, like really thick. And I definitely would say read it. Like I can't put it down. Like I'll sit down and start reading and then just keep reading. It's one of those books that has like literally like 100 pages of citations at the end, But so that's a great book. There's another book that I picked up that I've been wanting to read for a while. I haven't started it yet. It's called NYPD True.
Oh, okay.
It's written by an anonymous. It's the author's anonymous, and it was written in the 90s about the real inside, what it's like really inside the NYPD, about all the corruption and stuff. So I have that on my list. And then in terms of shows, I've just been watching like freaking everything, like whatever. I'm burning through like shows, But one of the cool things, I've been teaching my wife how to play chess. So we've been playing a ton of chess during the lockdown. And then in terms of games, like the beginning part of the game, Paul and I were playing all the time, multiplayer online, playing the Division 2, which was like surreal because that's a post-pandemic, world. It was like really kind of weird playing the Division.
It's a game put out by the Illuminati to condition us to the new world.
Totally. And then now I'm all in Ghost of Tsushima. You know.
Oh, I heard that game is dope.
Yo, that game is good. That game's really good. Definitely get that game. It's like it reminds me of Tenchu Z. I don't know if you played Tenchu Z back then.
I never played Tenchu, but I like know like what it's about.
Yeah, the
It's
last of the Tenchu games like was really, really good. The AI was good, and the stealth aspects of it was really good, and the graphics are great. And this is like reminds me of that in a lot of ways. But it's such a
I hear
massive
clicking. He's
world.
googling it right now. Probably.
Oh, I remember. Yo, I've always actually wanted to play these games.
Yo, the
I haven't
Tenchu
been able to
games-
play games for mad long now. Like just kind of even with COVID, just haven't been like really into it. But I remember these Tenchu games now.
Yeah,
This
man,
is
good
dope.
stuff. Good ninja games. But this game is awesome. Like, definitely, it's so huge. The open world is so huge on this,
Mhm.
and it's really good. The graphics are amazing.
Oh, that's good. That's dope. That's dope. I'm trying to think the games like I've been on and off games. I'll have like a couple weeks where I'll play games, and then I'll have weeks where I'm not playing any. Like right now, I'm on the not playing any
Yeah.
thing, but I've been playing. I got that Xbox Game Pass for like $1,
Oh,
like
cool.
back in the day. So like I've just been downloading games and just playing them.
Like
I'm playing this.
vintage ones or just like newer stuff.
Both.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I find myself ending up playing like the more like indie games, like Dead Cells and things like that. Because they're like really fucking fun, like Worms and shit, like just like old
Yeah.
school stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I have like
Did you ever play Saboteur? A
no.
few years ago. It was an indie game. It was so good. It's like one of my all-time favorite games. It takes place in it's a third-person shooter, but it's like if you took like Assassin's Creed open world type of thing where you can climb
Mhm.
everything. But it was the first game I ever played until this game. Like Ghost of Tsushima, you can play in black and white. They call it Kurosawa mode. You play it in black and white, like it's
Like old school
and-
movie.
Yeah, it looks like old film filter they put it through. But Saboteur, you were part of the resistance in Paris during the Nazi occupation. And the
Mhm.
game was in black and white. And it was like if you took Grand Theft Auto and combined it with Assassin's Creed and then put it like in like a sort of modern day ninja thing, like where you're a saboteur trying to defeat the Nazis. It was so fucking good, dude. You could steal any car, you could climb any building, and then it was like
cool.
the game was in black and white, and then every time you liberated a part of Paris, that
Mhm.
part would turn color, right? So it was like only the liberated parts of the city were color, and the Nazi occupied parts were black and white. So you would go back and forth between color and black and
Oh,
white.
that's dope.
Yeah, it's really good game, man. Really, really good. Definitely
Oh, that's awesome.
good shit. It's one of my favorite games. And then my other, like the Portal games are like some of my favorite games. If you never played,
Oh, I played the
I
original
remember.
Portal back in college. I love that game.
yeah, those
I love
puzzle
that game.
games, man. Portal 2 was really good. Like those games are awesome.
Yeah, it's dope. Yeah, man, I might play some games today. I feel inspired, but I have a feeling I'm gonna just end up watching Netflix or something. I've been watching shit like Immigration Nation.
Yo, have you seen O Jerome No?
No, I haven't.
It's on Hulu. It's so good. They're like short, like 15-minute episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely check it out. It's Jerome, no.
Oh, okay. What's it about?
It's about this guy Jerome who's like kind of like overly sensitive guy who feels like he needs to be more masculine and
Oh, like
he,
DK. Okay.
Oh, you heard it.
he's
Okay.
like he can never really find a girlfriend. Like each episode, like it starts off like you just feel bad for the guy. Like something really good's gonna happen, but he finds some way to screw it up because he's just too nice or whatever.
Oh,
And,
that's funny.
He'll like get excited like, but in his excitement, he'll screw things up. It's just so good. It's like a really good, endearing. You can watch the whole thing, and there's like 7 or 8 episodes, and they're only like between 10 and 15 minutes long. But it's written by, oh my God, what's the guy's name? You'll know him. He's been in a lot of shit. It's like he was in that HBO show Girls, and he's in a bunch of other stuff. I forget his name.
Adam Diver? Adam?
No, not Adam Driver.
Adam
Right.
Diver.
I call Diver.
Adam Diver.
I know what you meant, man.
Yo,
I knew it didn't sound right.
Yo, that dude in Star Wars, the one that played the new Darth Vader. Oh, Adam Diver.
The
Darth
hipster Darth Vader.
Oh man, that's a meme.
But anyway, check out Oh Jerome No. I think you'll dig it. It's really cool.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. I mean, DK, do you have any questions in particular?
Oh, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh God, that. No, I don't think it's a sandwich. No.
Okay, that was it. I was looking through some of your Reddit posts, and I was like, I can't believe this guy responded to this question.
I mean, but technically it is though.
No, it's not. Here's the loophole. Here's my thing.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is it because it's one piece of bread?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
cut in
one piece of
half?
bread, man.
It's one piece of bread that's cut in half that's put in, and that's why
I
it's
don't
not a
even
sandwich?
I don't consider a hero a sandwich.
Okay, all right, now,
This
this
is
now we're getting a little crazy. Now,
You sure you're from New York?
oh man.
No, a
Now-
hero
now-
is
now
its
I
own
get a
thing.
little
Like,
crazy.
to me, a sandwich is like 2 slices of bread with, it's like a sandwich. A hero is more like a hot dog where you have a long piece of bread sliced with stuff put in it.
Oh
Do you
man.
call it a hoagie? Do you call it a hoagie or a hero?
No, I call it a hero, but when I was a kid, I used to spend my summers in New England, so I used to call it a grinder. Like that's
Oh man, yeah, that's a word.
It's a grinder.
Different name.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah, that's a dope bat. But anyway,
That's like it's like pizza. Like, is a Chicago pizza really a pizza? It's not really pizza, man. It's like, I think a Chicago pizza is more like a casserole or a souffle or some shit.
it's a meal. It's a legit meal.
Yeah,
Like that.
it's
that's,
just they just call it pizza because it's round and it's got like sauce and stuff on it, but it's not really. It's like the deep dish stuff is not like what I consider pizza. And don't get me wrong, I love Chicago pizza. Like, I've spent a lot of time in Chicago and I love Chicago pizza. It's so good. But like you can't really compare like a New York pizza, Chicago pizza. They're 2 different things.
we're gonna edit out the part where you said good things about Chicago pizza, and then we're just gonna post like, oh, Chicago pizza isn't pizza, and then just like make it look real bad, and then we'll post
Good.
on Reddit.
Good, man. I'm a diehard New Yorker, man. I'll stick up for the New York pizza over any whatever, man. I saw like on one episode of Bourdain when he was still alive, he did a thing on hot dog, and he was talking about how, like, I forget where, Chicago or Detroit or some other.
Oh yeah, Chicago's, their hot dogs are like crazy intricate.
Yeah.
They're huge, and you put like all types of shit in it. They put like whole pickles and fucking like.
Because we've been to Wiener Circle. Yeah, have you heard of that? That's the famous hot dog place in Chicago.
No,
where they'll-
DK told me about that. I never been there though.
Yeah, my wife. I was teaching a seminar and stuff out there. My wife went to that place, man, and they're known for insulting you. Like, they insult you when you come get your.
Oh,
hot dog.
that's dope. I want to
know.
go there.
I've heard of something like that. That's
I want to
funny.
go there. Like, they just talk shit. That's funny.
Yeah. The one thing that you know what was a letdown for me was what the hell do they call it? Like in the Twin Cities and in the Midwest, they do the whole spaghetti with like chili on, like the hell do they call it?
Oh no, I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. Because okay, I had a cousin. She moved to Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
She lives there, and I went and visited her. So one of the things that they're really into in Cincinnati is called Skyline Chili.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Yeah.
So it's basically, so I was like, okay, when I go there, I'm gonna have some Skyline chili. So it's just like spaghetti cooked way past al dente. It's like fucking like
Mush.
you like they boil the shit out of it. They put chili on top of it, right? But like they put mounds of cheese, not melted cheese,
Yeah,
but
like-
cold cheese. I didn't get that, but I was like, yo, fuck it. When I go to Cincinnati, I'm gonna get some Skyline chili. I ended up not doing it because when I saw it, so basically there's Skyline chili is like it's like a restaurant chain. And then they have a rival called Gold Star Chili. But like the colloquial term is to call it like Skyline Chili because they're like, you know, the big one, right? But I saw a bunch of them and I saw people eating. I'm like, yo, this shit is not appetizing at all. And it turns out Cincinnati has a fuck ton of really good food. So I'm just like, wow, I don't have to like subject myself to this. You know? I don't know. It looks good. It's like something I can make delicious, but like it doesn't look good the way they make it.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like bad. It just wasn't. I was kind of let down by it. I was expecting more, you know. But,
How were your bowels later? Never mind.
It
Because I
wasn't
imagine
fun.
that shit is worse than White Castle.
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
Oh,
Yeah, but I
Taco.
love White Castle though.
Yo, White Castle is always a good idea until after the fact. Like
Yo,
when someone
man.
mentions White Castle, everyone's so down. Like, yeah, fucking White Castle. Let's go. You eat
Yeah.
like 10 burgers later, you're done. You're like, yo, why the fuck we'll do that? We'll never go to White Castle again until the next time you get drunk.
No, White Castle. I don't care. I love White Castle. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. It is good stuff without good stuff, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in your life, man? Besides just not doing anything for months, what's something new that you tried?
So I've been upping my cooking game like crazy.
Yeah.
So I always like to cook and I cook most of my meals, but like I made not buttermilk biscuits, but I made biscuits recently.
Oh, nice.
I usually cook a lot, but I don't really bake. So I started making things like beer bread, biscuits, things like that. So I'm just widening my cooking repertoire. Same thing with DK too. Like we cook all the time. So we're upping our cooking games. So yeah, other than cooking, I've been reading a lot more. I've been, doing my little workouts. I started using kettlebells. So I integrated that into my life. I'm doing like kettlebells. So I usually, do sumo squats, swings, deadlifts, things like that. That's been really good. It's been really good because it's really good way to, work out, build strength, endurance, explosiveness without without injuring anything,
Yeah. Totally.
It's just a really good training tool. So I've been doing that, cooking and working, and that's pretty much it. And I don't know, it sounds weird, but I'm pretty happy with that. It's like, I know DK, like we spoke about it, we speak about it sometimes, but like not having the normal social obligations to go places is fucking dope.
It is pretty cool.
Especially, exactly. I could just have my days largely to myself, not necessarily by myself, but like I'm not, I'm not pressured to go anywhere in particular or go to some event or some bullshit like that.
You don't have to come up with an excuse about why you don't want to go to somebody's birthday party or some bullshit. It's just like
Exactly. And if I do have to do some stupid shit like that, it's like I haven't been to one in months, so it's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I'll go. But that's what's been going on in my life. I'm just trying to make it so that I'm better once I'm on the other side of it,
Yeah.
And also we've been doing the bass too. We've been
I gotta
recording.
catch up on. I haven't listened to any of yours things since the Dominatrix episode. That was like the last one.
That was a good one.
Marley. Yeah. I mean, the show's kind of changed. It's like, we've been trying to find our footing. We've just been trying different. It's been largely the same sort of format, but we've been trying different things, different guests, different setups. DK does the editing. So we've added something called the Rundown, where we just talk about current events and just things weekly. We do that every week. We do that with our friend Ugo. So that's been
cool.
really fun. That's been really fun. So yeah, just trying things out, refining, and just trying to learn new things. And that's what I've been doing pretty much. And
But you guys got like 90 episodes. It's awesome though.
Yeah, that's like years going. But now we got like 2 shows, so that keeps growing every week. 2 episodes dropped.
Well, that's this is like podcast like revolution going on right now.
Yeah,
there's so many new podcasts popping up with the lockdown and stuff.
Facts. I've just been looking at this time as like a time to just kind of like build.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like looking at the positive side of it. I've always kind of been, well, I didn't say always, but I've been a homebody as of the last like few years and stuff like that. Especially once I got a girlfriend.
Your whole life, you've been training.
Yes, I'm very prepared for this. The other thing is that I've been working remote for like 2 years now, so like literally my work day has not even been like interrupted at all. Like it's just like business as usual.
Yeah. There's a lot of people like that. This hasn't really changed their life at all. And a lot of people, it's gonna, I think, for the better. Like when there's gonna be so many more people working remotely now after this is over than ever before.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I want this to stick, this remote thing, because I think people realize that like, most of the time we're in the office, we're kind of like bullshitting. You can do a lot of your work from home.
Yeah, I think that the concept of 9 to 5 is going to be gone after this. It's just going to be about productivity. Like if you can get your responsibilities done in 3 hours, that's more important. It should be about what you have to get done and getting it done, and not like filling a certain clock. You know what I mean? So
optics. Yeah. Come on, we got to be working.
No, but people are going to find that this is much more it's way more productive. There's more productivity by letting people work remotely and dive into what they got to get doing, and not have to pick up that phone call, not have the little chit chat at the water cooler, not be interrupted because somebody doesn't know how to use Excel, or like, oh, can you help me with XYZ or like whatever. It's like you can just sink into your work and get it done. It's like with the videos I've been editing. I'll like get up in the morning, my wife will go to work, and then I'll literally be in front of the laptop all day creating content. And then all of a sudden I realize, like, holy shit, like she's gonna be home from work soon. I gotta feed the cats. I gotta do all the household stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I just edited like 4 episodes of, it's like you're just so productive. So
the thing I really enjoyed about starting to work remote, was getting that time back from commuting. Because it's like, especially if you live in New York, your commute back and forth is going to take you anywhere from like 45 minutes to like almost 2 hours, if it's 1 hour each way.
Yeah, totally. That's all that time is wasted,
In 1 week, that's like 10 hours.
Yep. And that's going to have a better effect on the environment and all this other stuff. Like people, less use of cars, less use of, there's going to be like, even now, like my old hat, like just on a simple level of like just garbage, right? I mean, obviously we have tons of garbage, like in terms of masks and gloves that people are slobs and that's all ended up in landfills and shit. But at the same time, like I'm such a coffee addict, right? Like I would buy coffee when I leave for the train into the city, then buy another coffee when I get into the city, and then have another coffee like while I'm at the gym, and then another coffee on the way home. Like I'm not doing that anymore. 1, because I just don't want to spend the money, and 2, like I'm not leaving as much. I'm not out and about in the world as much, so I'm not buying stuff at whatever. I think in the long run, like in a weird fucked up way, I think Trump is the best thing that ever happened to this country. It's like it's reveal he's not politically, like not what he stands for, but because he was a catalyst for a lot of stuff that I just think needed to happen. You know what I mean? And then you put the pandemic on top of it. It's just, it's like a forest. Like a forest has to burn down to grow bigger and stronger in the future. Like we're just unfortunate to be living during the burn down phase of our culture. But
Yep.
a lot of people have been exposed for their true selves, and that's a good thing in the long run, you know.
Mhm.
Steve is just here to enjoy the decline.
Yo, listen, it's gonna happen anyway, so you can learn from it, you know, and try and make something good out of it, and at least try and look at it like on the other end of this, there's gonna be something better, you know.
Mhm.
If not for me, then for the next generation of people, you know, or 2 generations from now, you know. I mean, whoever thought we'd live in a time when we're the pariah of the world, you know, where our passport doesn't mean jack shit. You know, it's like, you know, every empire falls, you know. We just happen to be during this critical moment in ours, you know. Whatever.
Facts.
Damn.
Live life the best you can. That's it. So
Damn, that's. Oh, my bad. What are you saying?
No, nothing, man. Nothing. I don't know. I'm just rambling.
No, I mean, that's like, if that was a way to like end the show, that's like the dopest way to do it.
Enjoy your half empty glass, everybody.
Definitely. I mean, is there anything else that you want to say or anything else that you want to bring up? Shout outs?
No, well, if you want to, for people who want to check out like our recent short film, it's in a festival that's usually in Austin, Texas, but now it's streaming all week. If you go to my
Plug
Facebook,
it.
yeah, if you go to
Or give us the information. We'll link it.
Yeah, just look up IDTV Action Fest. It's the Iron Dragon festival, but they have a streaming channel they're setting up to do the festival online. So it's IDTV Action Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, before we got on, I just posted the links on my Facebook and stuff. You can get it all there. But there's some really good. I think they're charging like $10 to watch all the movies, which is worth it if you just actually watch all the movies and help support the festival that had to cancel their live event. So I'm sure they took a bath financially on that. But if you can at least, you know, want to watch some good independent action movies and pay $10 and see a whole bunch of cool fights and stuff and support this festival, they're a really good festival. So, and then you can see our short film Rewind in there.
Rewind. Okay.
Yeah.
I kept trying to look for something of that, and all it kept showing me was YouTube Rewind videos.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah.
That was a little. It was a little hard to try to find that one.
Yeah, no, Rewind. It's not on YouTube. We didn't put it out on YouTube. We'll put it up after the festival circuit's over. You know, like we're in 2 more festivals that got postponed till next year. So I don't know if we'll probably put it out for the public before that. Technically, they don't want you to make it viewable until after their festival, but yeah, I'm not going to wait a whole year. So
yeah.
Well, but for now, Iron Dragon is the IDTV festival, and they have actually a really good app. They have a really good streaming channel, like the IDTV channel is really good. They have a lot of stuff on there, so it's worth. Yeah, you can get it on iTunes, Apple Store, all that. Roku, I think it's on Roku. It's on a bunch of stuff, but for $10, you can see all the festival entries.
Okay, we'll do. Oh man, I just went to their website and checked it out, and then when I went on the website, this fucking epic music just went through my headphones really loud. I had to close the tab really quickly. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, no, they're good. I was at their. This is the 4th year they're doing this festival, and it's growing every year. It's pretty cool.
All right, yeah, that's dope. So yeah, check out IDTV Action Fest, definitely.
Yep.
So also your Instagram at Sambo Steve.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's all at Sambo Steve. Everything is Sambo Steve.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Oh, I've been looking forward to it. We've been talking about it for a while, so I'm glad we finally did it.
Yeah. Don't get the Rona, you know?
Oh, hell no. My negative test, I just last Monday. So as of last Monday.
I saw my negative test this morning. I was like, yep.
Perfect. That means
Yeah.
if you're negative,
Perfect.
I'm negative.
No, you're probably gonna
You think
fuck
I got
it up. You're gonna fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah.
It depends
whatever.
who's pitching and catching in that marriage.
Hey,
We all
come
know who's
on.
in charge.
Come on. Yeah, come on. I've never been behind home base, so just
Yeah.
letting you know.
DK.
Just letting you know.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for having me on, dude. It was fun.